Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unsportsmanlike Conduct. I'm Christian Stoynev, and on this episode, we have Dallas Cowboys offensive lineman William Sweet, who's going to join me. We're going to talk about his career on and off the field. Little background on William: he's from Jacksonville, Florida, but he went to school at North Carolina, so he's a Tar Heel. Spent his college career there, redshirted for a year, but had an outstanding college career, and is now in the NFL, and is very passionate about a lot of what he's doing off the field. So, without further ado, let's bring in William. All right, and joining me now through Zoom is my man, William Sweet. William, thank you for joining the show, and thank you for taking some time out of your day to chat with me a little bit.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Nice to
Yeah,
be
man.
here.
Yeah, for sure. We got to give Trent a shout out who made this happen. So, quick shout out to Trent. I have some questions for you. Obviously, the NFL draft just got done last weekend, so for us fans, it was exciting to watch and just to see where everybody's going. I wanted to talk to you. Obviously, you spent your college career at North Carolina, a Tar Heel. So, what was your decision making when it was time for you to put your name into the draft, and when you decided to try to get drafted? And you kind of had this come up story because you actually give a lot of hope to the people that go undrafted, and now you're in the NFL. You're a Cowboys guy now, so just talk to me about what went into your decision when you were like, all right, this is time for me now to put my name in there.
Well, I think originally that was a part of the plan. I chose North Carolina so I could get a world-class education. I could compete on and off the field to win championships. I was able to win first place at the Keenan Flagler Business School competition for entrepreneurship, and we were also able to compete at a high level in the ACC. Didn't get the ring that we wanted, but it was great pursuing that championship mentality with my teammates. And to answer your question, I graduated from University of North Carolina, which essentially allowed me to move on to my next chapter in my life, which was to pursue athletics at the highest level, at a professional level. So it was just a part of the plan.
Part of the process. So, with that being said, man, what I respect, I've done a little bit of research here on you. What I respect the most is how much you have valued that education, which you are, even though being an NFL athlete, you are still actually valuing that, obviously, with Sweet Ventures, which I'd love to get into a little bit to talk about how you're able to kind of start your post-football career already so early. And I feel like a lot of athletes don't really do that from an outsider's perspective, at least. So talk about that and how, where's that influence come from that you are able to kind of look ahead and kind of be a step ahead of everything just to be ready for that next phase.
I think it comes back down to my passion. I'm passionate about business. I'm passionate about entrepreneurship. And, once I established capital to my name, I wanted to provide a sense of longevity. And, for me, real estate was the best way for me to do that. Whether you're renting or owning your own home, we all need somewhere to live. So
Right.
Sweet Ventures focuses on housing, property management, and acquisitions. And in addition to that, when I first got to University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, I started investing to the stock market. So public equities, your Fortune 500 companies in the S&P, just big name brand companies. I started investing at 17, and after I got signed by the Arizona Cardinals in 2019 at 21, I was able to establish additional capital to my name that I wanted to provide longevity, because everyone isn't as lucky as Tom Brady, right? You
Right.
can't. Everyone isn't going to play until he's, what is he, 41?
Yeah, I think he's 41. Yeah.
Not everyone. I mean, you're lucky to get 3 years. That's the average career. 3 years, 3.5 years. So I was forced to be an entrepreneur just by the nature of it.
Well, man, it's crazy because in my opinion, it kind of defies even your like how the position that you play in football. You're a lineman. You guys obviously don't get all the huge, highlights and everything. It's on the running backs and the receivers and the quarterbacks. But sometimes the linemen that are just consistent and do their thing, not sometimes, a lot of times, have longer careers than, let's say, the flashy running back who comes in and has 2 great seasons, but then is replaced shortly after. And so it's kind of cool that you're able to set that self for you. You said you were at 17 already knowing. Man, good for you. I'm 29 and I just started learning about the stock market not too long ago. So you were able
Never
to
too late.
yeah, no. So I started, especially once COVID happened. My dad was like, "Hey, this would be a good time to go in on stuff now." So that's when I started learning. Now I'm all into like the Dogecoin hype and stuff and looking at all that stuff. So that's really cool that you were able to just get such a head start, man. And I'm congratulations to you, because obviously you got football right now. But it's good that you, in other words, didn't place all your eggs in one basket. You're able to just not depend on it fully, and obviously be super smart about it. So now I'll just jump back to your football career. So you got your first chance to be on an NFL team with the Cardinals. Unfortunately, you had an injury before your real first game, if I'm correct. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah. And so then
Injuries
after,
are part of the game.
huh?
So I was just saying, injuries are part of the game.
Part of the game. So I was going to ask you, what was your motivation to, you go undrafted, you get this opportunity, and then that must have just obviously, honestly, just sucked probably to then get hurt. But what was your motivation to be like, no, I'm going to keep fighting. It doesn't matter. I'm on injured reserve. I'm just going to get back onto the field and then be able to just rehab and get back from that.
Right. Well, you always want to get more out of the game than the game gets out of you. Right. So what do I mean by that? Looking at these systems, right? The system is designed for football players to play football.
Right.
Right. At the same time, while you're in that system, you want to make use of all of your resources while you're playing. So for me, it was about taking advantage of the platform that I have while I have it, right?
Yeah.
If you don't use it, you lose it. So just understanding leverage, understanding, how to position yourself after you're done playing, while you're playing is important.
Yeah. I mean, it's unreal, man. So that's good. Then you get back. Now, this is just kind of a fun question for us as fans, because many fans, I think, don't realize, that are just casual fans, that you guys, have training facilities where you practice and it's not in the stadiums. So once you got onto the actual stadium, where it's, these NFL venues are huge. Now you're, in Jerry's World, it's huge there. So was there like on Sundays, are you ever just like, damn, when you look around and go like, man, like it's kind of like, I don't know, jitters or anything like that,
Man, it's amazing. Like you said, Jerry's World is one of a kind. I mean, it's AT&T Stadium, the entire our practice facility to our weight room. I mean, everything is just it's an experience, and it's truly an honor to be in Dallas. And you just take it as an honor. And some of the best fans in the world. It's very it's amazing to be a part of something special like that. It's amazing.
Yeah, I actually, so a friend of mine, David Morgan, I noticed you guys actually follow each other on social media. I'm not sure if you know David in person, tight end, at all, but I met him a couple years back, and he's the one that, he got me and my brother like field passes, and we got to go there and kind of get the whole experience to a Vikings game. And it was super cool to just kind of see that. And I just thought to myself, man, like, and it's different. Obviously, I do performing on my own, so it's different, like nerves there. But are you superstitious? Do you have any, like, do you get super nervous before games? How do you handle that part of it? I'm not sure how athletes do. So you're someone that can help with that.
Well, typically, in traditional and in the past years, when we had crowds,
Yeah.
it would be, you know, reasons to, be nervous and, have the crowd influence um your routine or, like for example, Odell Beckham, he goes out and catches footballs in front of the crowd like pregame,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This past year there were no fans in majority of the stadiums, right? So we have to consider that, you know, if it's so dangerous for fans to sit there and watch us play, why are we playing?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of routines and pregame routines were taken into consideration that there were no physical fans in majority of stadiums. So um, that may dictate, guys switching their routine if it had any influence on the crowd, such as catching footballs in front of the fans if there are no fans.
Yeah. I mean,
You probably
athletes.
you probably wouldn't, you know, catch footballs in front of the fans if there's no fan. You probably wouldn't do that.
Right. Right. I mean, there's no. You don't. I'm sure part of it probably is also even just the hype, getting yourself hyped, seeing the fans there. But in a way, I probably imagine having the empty stadium sometimes maybe even puts more pressure on some guys because it's quiet and everyone's. I mean, even though there are no eyes there, the cameras are there, so it's like that one or a few cameras eyes that are on you and obviously broadcasting to people all over the nation and the world. Um, so all right, as a lineman, what's more rewarding, a rushing touchdown or a passing touchdown? Doesn't
What's
matter.
more rewarding? Just scoring in general is rewarding. Um, I guess you could argue that maybe a passing touchdown would be more rewarding because everyone, including the quarterback, would have been involved, including,
Right.
all 11 guys versus, a rushing touchdown would be all 10 guys involved other than the quarterback handing the running back the ball, which is, very important. But I would say for all 11 guys to, somewhat have a sense of reward, I would say probably passing because, all 11 guys were either blocking, throwing, or catching the football versus, you know, a rushing touchdown with the quarterback would only hand it off. So
Right. Right. Right.
I would
Yeah.
say passing just
Everyone's
based on.
everyone's involved there for sure. Um, all right, and then now we'll just jump back. I have a question for you about Sweet Ventures. So, what is your uh vision for Sweet Ventures? You, like we spoke about already, you were super intelligent to get this started now, to start working on it. Where do you envision this going, and what's your ultimate goal?
Well, for me, my ultimate goal was to replace my earned income with passive income,
Okay.
which therefore will allow me to retire and have freedom and live life on my own terms. So that was the goal of it. From a number standpoint of what that means is we currently have 6 residential properties in Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay.
And on a conservative basis, a very conservative basis, I'm 24 now. If we just added one property every single year, we would, essentially by the time I'm 30, we would have over double digit properties in Jacksonville, which, one house a year is conservative. That's not too bad. Like
Right.
I wouldn't mind having 12 properties by the time I'm 30.
Right,
I
and then
wouldn't
just
I wouldn't
renting them out, right?
Yeah, just buy and hold, and so I wouldn't mind being in that position.
Yeah, for sure. So, uh, stupid question maybe on my part, but I have always thought this because I think the same as you. Obviously, having that property, not just even when I moved to Vegas, I was in LA before this. You're paying over $20,000 a year that you essentially, when you're renting, just kind of giving away in a way. And so I was like, might as well get a home. Let's say the home is $300,000. I was like, if you lived in this home, said home for 15 years, and then you sold it even for 200K, which would be obviously like not normal, you'd still would technically make 200K from it, even in that kind of loss if you were paying the 20K for rent. So the question is, why do you think more athletes don't buy homes? Because I've obviously heard a lot of athletes that, and they're always getting moved and traded and free agency and stuff. But I always thought to myself, if you're one of these athletes that's making huge money, why not buy a home? And even if you get traded, you can rent it and make money from it, or just sell it, considering obviously if inflation is going that way, and more than likely you're going to lose less money that way than if you were renting.
So what's the question?
The question is, why do more athletes not buy and end up renting in a lot of the cities that they're playing in?
Well, I think you kind of answered your question while you were asking me. A lot of athletes are, temporarily, with that team, during that season, or, while they're playing with them. A lot of athletes, may not want to live permanently where they work. For example, I'm from Florida and I work in Dallas.
Right.
I don't have any plans of purchasing a home in Dallas per se.
Okay.
I'm currently living in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm renting a place here. And I love the flexibility that it brings me. If I want to leave you're in Vegas, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If I want to leave and pack all my stuff up and head to Vegas tomorrow, I can put in my notice to leave and do that, and kind of wipe my hands clean. So it gives you a sense of flexibility, freedom. And for me, let's say, I was to buy a house, including the down payment, the taxes, the insurance, uh, the realtor fees, and you name it,
Yeah.
right? Instead of me putting all that down on one single property, I can rent that same exact property and invest the difference. So what that means is, as an investor, I have to look at the return on investment. And you mentioned that, over time, you would hope that that property would increase in value, but I will argue that there are other alternative investments that, could potentially have you that could potentially give you a higher return,
Okay.
such as stocks, cryptocurrency, other than buying a primary house for you to live in. And then you also have to think about it, you know, is it an asset or a liability? Well, are you paying for the house or is the house paying you?
Yeah.
You have to answer that, so you have to make that, determination for yourself. But, and a good investment for me is something that's going to pay me every single month and provide me cash flow.
Right. I mean, you brought up a great point to counter what I was thinking, because maybe I was too close-minded in thinking that way, because I always just thought, say when you were with the Niners, if you bought a house in San Francisco and now that you are on the new team, you would just rent that house out and get the income from it every month. But like you said, it might not be worth the hassle, the maintenance. If you're not there, maybe you're not able to, then you're gonna have to pay the fee for someone to look out after it and everything. So that's a great point that you bring up, and that's just why my train of thought was always like, why wouldn't you just buy a house and rent it? But great, that's just why I'm asking you, who knows a lot more about this stuff than I do. So all right, last couple questions.
I
Sorry,
think
go ahead.
we started in Jacksonville. One, that's where I'm from, and two, we wanted to grow exponentially in one particular city. So if we have an issue at 2 out of the 6 houses, we can handle all of that in-house at the same time, at the same day,
Right.
versus if we had a house in Jacksonville, I had a house in California, a house in Arizona, a house in Phoenix, right? You will start to then cut into the profit margins, because you got to pay different property managers different
Right.
fees and different taxes, and I mean, I'm not saying it can't be done, but for us, we want to dominate where we are. We want to dominate Jacksonville, create a system in place where, you know, it's essentially automated. You know, we have one property manager, we have one maintenance guy, you know, to save on costs.
Yeah, I mean, it makes total sense. All right, we'll do some fun questions here. One of the questions I wrote down was, have you ever, I'm sure probably even dating back to high school, had a big play turned back because you had a holding penalty? And what does that feel like?
Yeah, I've had a holding call. I think we had it was in high school where we scored a touchdown, and I think they called holding on me, and you know, we shook it off and we went down and we scored again.
Yeah,
So it was football is a great teacher because it teaches you how to prepare for life, in my opinion. You know, adversity, overcoming adversity, you know, how to maintain your composure, controlling your emotions, working hard, working together with others, and creating a sense of brotherhood. And it allows you to compete at the highest level. And you know, all of those skills can be translated off the field. And yeah,
yeah. Well, because sometimes on the TV broadcast, they don't make it light for the linemen sometimes, and they'll call them out for that. And I'm like, man, these guys have had like 40 other plays where they were perfect, and the one play gets called out, and that kind of stinks because I'm like, it's not fair in a way, you know. So, but it's the responsibility, I guess, that comes with that. So I just wondered what that felt like. All right, so are you a trash talker, or are you a kind of quiet demeanor guy on the field?
me personally, I don't talk about what I'm gonna do. I just do it.
All right, I respect that. I like it.
And that not only translates on the field, but in everything that we do. I mean, I don't have to, you know, tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna do it, and then tell you like, yeah, we just did that.
Yeah, you let your play talk for you, speak for itself, pretty much. I like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't trash talk.
All right, a pancake block, or would you rather hold a guy off for 10 seconds while your quarterback is just chilling back there? Which one's more rewarding?
Pancake,
Yeah. That's, I guess that's the total embarrassment for the D lineman on that one. All right. You're
pancake.
in Dallas now. So who's gonna end who will Luka Doncic end his career with more rings than Dirk? Or do you think he won't, even though Dirk only has one?
To be honest with you, I'm not even updated in that space, so I couldn't even tell you who's gonna have the better career. I know they're both great players, and I, you know, wish everyone success. But I couldn't tell you who's gonna get one or two rings. I really have I don't
All
follow
right.
it that much to give you a good answer.
All right. Well, this one, hopefully you help me out on this one. Pre-game nap more important, or pre-game meal more important?
Definitely the meal.
The meal. Okay.
Definitely the meal.
All right. And then since we're on
Definitely
a
the meal.
meal, this is the last one I'll leave you with. Whataburger or In-N-Out? Have you had In-N-Out?
In and out
All right, good choice. Well,
all day.
we're out here on the West Coast, so I like In-N-Out too. But the Whataburger breakfast burritos are super bomb. I've had those before too.
Man, I'm coming to Vegas.
Yeah, there's one right here. There's a couple right here. So when you're out here, let me know. It'll be my treat. Appreciate it, man.
Let's
Thank
do it. Let's do
yeah.
it.
Thank you so much, man, for joining me. I really appreciate it. I'm not sure if you want to plug anything, but you could go right ahead. Let us know where we can find you on social media and what to look out for.
Man, thank you for having me. God is great. God is the greatest. Follow me on Sweet 904 Instagram, and my real estate page is Sweet Ventures LLC.
Awesome. Yeah, and I love the name. It's just a perfect name for that, man. I saw that and I was like, damn, this is awesome. So congrats on everything, man. Because honestly, just your intellect is out of this world, man. I feel like I feel dumber talking to you because you just are so smart with all this stuff, man. So Thank you. I might be bugging you for some real estate advice here and there.
Anytime. Thank you for having me, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, of course. Thank you. Thank you again to William for joining me on this episode of Unsportsmanlike Conduct. And like I mentioned earlier, a huge thank you to my man Trent Land for putting us in touch and making this happen. Again, guys, if you enjoyed this episode, please like, and if you can, please subscribe and share. I appreciate the support. And I'll be back in a couple days and we'll bang out. What the fuck? Thanks again to William for joining me on Unsportsmanlike Conduct. And a huge thank you as well to my man Trent Land for putting us in touch and making this possible. If you guys like that episode, please like. And if you can, please subscribe and share so we can keep growing the channel. And I'll be back in a couple days with a new episode. And we'll talk some basketball. The NBA playoffs are just around the corner. And we'll check in on the world of the NFL and see if there's any new updates. Maybe Aaron Rodgers and the Packers have some more breaking news for us. That'd be exciting. So, all right, guys, thank you again, and I'll be back with another episode in a couple of days. See you then.